Can you recognize the times? Do you recognize what's taking place around you? How spiritual are you? How tuned in are you? Are you able to hear what your spirit is receiving? What's taking place within your aura? Are you feeling in your heart? Are you utilizing your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, any of the clairs to determine what's going on and to discern what you need to do? If you're not, stay with me. We're going to be talking about utilizing your spiritual gifts in order to keep you attuned to what's taking place. And the reason is, if you haven't noticed it, things are beginning to change. If you're looking at the news, if you're looking at looking on the internet, and wherever it is that you get your sources, if you are continuing to be fed without listening within, you will miss the signs that are being transmitted to you that things are changing. We're getting to the point that people are fatigued. You don't realize it, but we've heard the same lies since the Obama administration. And once a lie is repeated enough times, people begin to believe it. Many of the things that we see mirrored in society today they already have taken place in the spirit realm. The things which we can't see make the things that we see, okay? So it's already happening and has happened in the spirit realm. We've seen it occur throughout history. The things that we're experiencing now are the same tools that were used spiritually in the past that have been hindering, that have attempted to stop the progress of man understanding who they are, who we are from a spiritual perspective. We're dealing with the same thing. But you have to learn how to read the times in order to be able to gauge where you are and where you need to be spiritually. And I surely hope that this makes sense. If not, listen to it again and really tune in with me, because we're at a place where things are changing. It's not that same point where it's the darkest hours right before dawn. I think we've done that. And in being able to see that things are changing, we can understand how keeping our vibration high affects that change. If we're in the higher vibrations of life, if we're up in that love, joy, that area, then understand how much higher that is above hatred and anger. And light always cancels out darkness. Love always beats hate. And as we see things changing, it should give us the incentive to continue to do what we're doing. When we look at the fact that the current administration, if you can feel it in the spirit, the current administration doesn't have any energy. They may be doing things like setting off firecrackers, so to speak, with Doge and all the rest of this, but they don't have the energy that they had before. It may not appear as though a lot of progress is being made, but an enormous amount of progress is being made. In the last episode, we were talking about ushering in a change, okay? And we saw that there's part of the country here in the United States that is moving, and there's another part that's holding still. And what we see is, I believe, spiritually motivated. There's a reason why those that are sitting still are supposed to. A lady spoke it today that I heard, and she said that if we were on the forefront, that's the reason to bring in the police, to bring in the military, to try to stop it. But because we're not on the forefront, that is not happening. When they said that with the millions of people who marched, there were no casualties, nobody got hurt, that would not have been the case had another segment of our population been on that front line marching. So when you're getting indication spiritually, sit down, listen. When you're being instructed on what to do, listen. And then you will begin to see what your involvement or non-involvement is actually doing to change things. Again, you got to look at it from a spiritual perspective. We're seeing people who had not been affected by the cost of goods, okay, that are now affected. We've seen people who were usually not the first ones fired. They were usually the first ones hired and the ones who were never fired. But now we're seeing people who are being terminated without notice. And it is beginning again to get the attention of the world as the world sees the changes that are taking place here. Because again, we went into the pandemic as a world, and we're coming out of it as a world, and all of the revelations that were made while everybody was holding still and being quiet. The world will reap the benefits of what we've been through, but we must keep our energies boosted. If the light starts getting dim, who's going to be the light? There are some whose job is walking, and there are some whose job is typing. There are some whose job is speaking. And if you will do your job, we will make it through. I heard another lady today say out loud what I have been thinking, and it goes back to, you don't have to be oppressed. There is a way in order to change things, and we've seen it happen around the world in administrations that are attempting to injure their own citizens. We've seen it over and over again. And just because it has not happened in this country does not mean that it's out of the question. And I actually heard a lady just came across my feed who began to say these very things out loud and not in coded terms. She said that she'd seen someone else, and I'd seen that same podcaster as well, say the same thing. It does not have to be this way. And they began to put out a poll to see what a removal from office, what type of momentum they could get with this poll. Understand that you may not be marching, but you are fighting with your dollar. You may not be out there carrying signs, but you're holding it up in the highest vibrational realm that there is possible, because darkness doesn't go there. It cannot go there. It may seem like you're not doing very much, but you're doing a tremendous work. Again, the things which we cannot see create the things that we can see. And if you look around, you will see that things are changing. Even those who have been paid, truly been paid, are beginning now to turn the checks down. So keep watching out, keep listening out, and realize the role that you're playing is vital. Between now and the next podcast, I want you to pay strict attention to what you're seeing. I want you to be aware of the energies of the people that you're watching. And that goes to broadcasters, it goes to those who had been counted out and gone, it goes to everyone. And as we see the energies change, the more that we stay high, the more that we lift ourselves up, the more we will see those changes. We are at a point, a tipping point, but it's up to us to be that change that we want to see, to be that difference. And it's such a counterintuitive space to be asked to hold still in the midst of a commotion going on around you. But things are changing. Eyes are opening. People are beginning to understand. The current administration, their energy is very, very low. You can't continue fighting a battle when you've been fighting battles of your own creation and fighting battles with yourself. You'll never win. We're at a point where things are changing, where people are beginning to examine a concept of administrative change, and even to think about a concept of a different governing system, I'll put it that way, but a system which would truly represent the voice of the people. What we're living through now is history, but it's necessary for us to pay close attention because, as we know, people will try and change history. If you haven't yet, this would be a great time to get your Diamond Journey Journal as you're listening to the way that you interact in a from a spiritual perspective. It will be great to be able to track your progress in real time using your journal. If you are not familiar with FanBase, you can join me there, and also on NoomVibe. If you haven't done so, please visit my website at www.DrAnitaMc.com and join me again on A Diamond Moment with Dr. Anita.